Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and this is Channel Chat 96. If you're new here, I'm the face, the voice, and the hands behind all the content here on the channel and behind the blog InfinityCraftingCompany.com. Today I'm here just to share with you guys, okay? Because I don't know when March began and I don't know how we got to the end of it so quickly, but it is now April and, you know, new month, same projects. I have been working steadfastly on the Genesis top that I think I showed off in the last channel chat, and I've also been kind of hinting at on Instagram. I've been working on this project for about a year now. Well, over a year now. And I felt kind of bad about it sitting in my whip basket for so long. It's the first project that I cast on with lace weight yarn. Maybe even a sport weight, I'm not sure now. Somewhere between there. Very thin yarn. And I was like, I have to do something with this thin yarn after I bought it and realized it was super thin. And so I cast on and I realized that with my schedule and everything, I didn't have time for all that. So I put it away and then I picked it up at the beginning of last fall. And then I ended up putting it away again in lieu of another knitting project. I don't know what 2021 was, but it was, I don't know why I wanted to knit so much in 2021, but hey. I still have several knitting projects that have carried over from last year that I am working on, but I think this current project is my main project, so to speak. Like, I'll start a bunch of projects, but there's one that I focus on more so than the others, and this one has become the focus so far. I have made some pretty good progress since the last time I showed this off, which wasn't that long ago. So I am working on the sleeve. This design is a cold shoulder thing, and I'm excited for the picture session. I guess photo shoot would be the right word, but you know. Anyway, so I feel like I've been stuck on this sleeve for a while, and it's literally the only thing holding me up from completing my tutorial is just finishing the sleeves. I thought about it first, like adding a little bit to the edging up here, and I might still go back if I can do that with the same yarn cake, because this whole top has only taken me 2 skeins of yarn. 2 cakes. I don't know, I call everything a skein even though it's not technically a skein, but the yarn that I used was this Jubilee yarn, which you can see here. I started using this one to kind of do my tutorial stuff with. A little fancy camera work there, but this Ombre Blast, it's called Something Wild. It's like color 106. I saw it, I think it was on Etsy or something, and I love the colors. I like neon colors, even if I primarily wear black, because it adds such a nice contrast to the rest of my wardrobe, you know. So I saw this and I was immediately taken in by it, and then I bought it and I realized what I'd done with the thinness of it. And I think at first I started kind of toying around with it, like on my centro, and then I was like, okay, this is too thin for that. So then I ended up casting on, and so now we're here. I'm pretty sure once I get through recording the companion video for the pattern and actually type the pattern, because right now it's all handwritten, once I get through all of that, I'm sure I'll be doing a crafty corner, as I have been doing with the previous few pattern releases. I kind of like getting on and talking about the ideas behind my designs and whatnot, so I think that's going to be fun. You guys know I digress often. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video now, because when I started it, it was going to be just acquisitions, but now I've started talking about a project, and anyway, this is going to get derailed so quickly. I've stopped this video so many times. I didn't do a yarn haul at all this year. If you haven't noticed, I haven't really been around, a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of February / beginning of March, I did a little retail therapy, because I was just like, you know, I gotta do something, and like with all those classes coming to an end, I needed the sweet release of buying yarn, okay? So my first yarn purchase of 2022 was actually with Wool and the Gang. I had a really good coupon, and I was like, I need to do a sweater or something. And I know what you guys are going to say, Infiniti, you've been doing so many sweaters. I know. So many garments. It's kind of what I do. But I was really inspired. I've been really embracing the color green, like over the last several months. I'm starting to think that that might be my new favorite color. when I wear it, I just like how it looks on. So I don't know. But anyway, I got 6 balls of their Crazy Sexy Wool, and I got, of course, 3 of the emerald, and then I got 3 of the rocky gray. I am planning something. I don't quite know what it's gonna be, because at first I was thinking like some kind of cardigan, and then I was like, what about a shrug? I've only done one shrug pattern, and so that's up in the air. I'm not sure. I'm almost certain that by the time fall rolls around, I'll have a solid idea of what I'm gonna do. Hopefully by then too, I'll have my pocket shawl done, because, you know, I started that last year in August, and I really wanted it done by November, but hey, that's neither here nor there. So I got that earlier on in the month, and then one day I found myself at the art supply store, because, you know, even if I'm not posting my art, I still kind of create stuff, or at least have the idea of creating stuff. So I went by the art store and I got some hemp cord. So last year I was doing a bunch of gardening. I had a lot of fun with that and experimented with a lot of different stuff. Some stuff failed, some stuff didn't, but I made a little harvest basket, and if I can find the picture of it, I will pop it up. But it wasn't anything too impressive. It was just made out of twine and crocheted out of twine, and I just wanted something to put my vegetables in. So I did that, and then after I did that, I was like, I could really use another one, because next year I'm going to be ramping up my garden and what I plant and stuff. So I got a couple of, I want to call these, they're not really cones, but I got a couple of balls of these. Okay, we're just going to call them twine balls, okay? So I got a couple of those because I want to actually redo that basket and maybe write the pattern for it. I don't know, because I wrote the pattern that I came up with last year, but then I'm like, do I really want to use that one? So I don't know. We'll see what it becomes. So maybe I'll have another summer pattern on the blog. I don't know. The other day, like I said, I drug my grandma to Michael's. Or did I say that in this take? I don't remember. The other day, I drug my grandma to Michael's, and I went in just browsing. I didn't really need the yarn. We got my mom's yarn stash, and so part of that is behind me. I haven't organized anything. The whole studio is still in disarray, of course. But anyway, we went to Michael's, so I went snooping around the yarn section, and oh my gosh, the Burnett has a newer yarn, and apparently it's limited time according to the label. But it's this Forever Fleece finer yarn. So I guess the regular Forever Fleece is thicker than this, but it is so soft. It is so soft and cuddly, and I was like trying not to snuggle with it in the store, and I of course am drawn to bright colors half the time. So when I saw this like neon color, and it's actually called Zing, which is really fitting, when I saw this I grabbed 4, because I'm like, whatever this becomes, it's going to be wearable, and I need enough yarn. Each skein has where'd it go, 352 meters or 385 yards. So I'm like, that's enough to design something with, because I'm thinking about one of the recent sweaters I did. It only took about 12 or 1300 yards of material to make it. So I'm like, okay, something along those lines, maybe a little simpler, I don't know. I thought I got 2 of these little skeins of Trubu by Lion Brand. I was going to make scrunchies initially, but then once I got home, I realized that I accidentally bought the loops and threads, like their store brand. It's kind of like it. They felt the same. They feel almost exactly the same, but they're totally different. The dye lots are different. I'm like, well, that sucked. So I'm going to be using these probably for bookmarks. I stitched up a little crochet bookmark, which is going to be available on my blog if it's not available already on my blog, and I'm just going to make more, because I've been really on a reading kick lately, and I probably should be reading more of my textbook than regular books, but hey, it is what it is. So I got those 2 colors or whatever. I don't know if I'm going to use those for the tutorial that I want to do for that pattern, or if I'm going to go ahead and do it in this pastel purple, because I had some leftover I think this was also the Tribu that I had left over, and I'd made scrunchies out of it, obviously, and then I caked it. But anyway, it's I call it lace when I talk about it, but it's like the crochet pattern. I use a 3.5mm hook for it, so might as well be. But it's this yarn in particular is the perfect texture, consistency, or whatever for bookmarks, in my opinion. So that's what I used, and that's what I'll be using in my tutorial once I figure out which color I want to use. But of course, no shopping trip to the craft store is complete without me adding to my ridiculous collection of knitting needles or crochet hooks. Actually, I have been kind of letting off the crochet hooks. I really don't need many. I've been collecting the furls hooks, and outside of those, I just don't really use many other crochet hooks now. I've just accumulated a bunch of them over the last almost 8 years I've been crocheting. So the same with knitting. So I've been knitting, what, like 6.5 years. At first I couldn't catch on to knitting. It was just terrible. It was a terrible time. But now I have become the crazy needle lady, and this is my collection of needles. I find that I use cable needles, and not cable needles, circular needles. There we go. I find that I use those way more than I use straights, but that doesn't stop me from collecting straights. So I bought these, I think they're 14 inches, 13 inches, okay. These clover needles. I do like wooden knitting needles, and I thought that they would pair nicely with my wool here. I've worked with this wool in the past, and I don't know, it slides too much on the metal needles, so for this kind of yarn I would definitely use a wooden needle of some sort because it has more grab to it. So that's why I got these with this wool in mind, and hopefully I'll come up with something fun with this. And then my eyes trailed over and I discovered these other knitting needles. Now, I've had my eyes on these for a minute, and I just hadn't bothered to buy them because I'm like, okay, Infiniti, do you really need more knitting needles, more circular knitting needles? But these are the Prim Ergonomic knitting needles. I've been curious to try them just because they're odd shaped. So they're kind of triangular as far as I've been able to tell. And I haven't obviously used them yet. Usually I dislike plastic needles, but the shapes of these are interesting. They have these little, they call them hook tips. I don't know if you guys can tell quite, but they're not really normal shape. They have these little nubs here, and I guess that helps with catching the yarn, which would probably be really handy for a beginner knitter. I'm holding them, and I kind of like how they feel. The little triangular shape really kind of helps how they feel in hand, so I guess they are pretty cool. If I find something to cast on with these in the near future, I will probably do a review on them. Usually I collect 5mm or 5.5mm needles. That's usually the size I work in, just because they're kind of standard and common. But yeah, so I've added these to the collection. I have to figure out what I'm going to use these for in the future. Maybe I'll use them for, they're probably wide. These are probably long enough for another mountain hermit shrug. I did that one last year. I think I actually churned it out by the time fall came rolling around. It was actually supposed to be released in spring, but you know, with my track record here lately, everything's been off schedule. And but it was originally meant for like springtime when it's cool in the mornings, you want to be out in your yard or whatever and working. So I made that one. I think the Mountain Hermit one is the free version of the pattern, and then the Forager one is more so for actually doing yard work because it has the sleeves you can push up and the pocket for things and whatever. So those can also be found on my website. But I've been wanting another one of those in another color, and I've been thinking brown. But see, something's telling me to use the fisherman's wool for that, and I don't know if I have enough fisherman's wool for that particular project. I'll have to look over yonder and see. I don't know, I'm doing a lot of cleaning in the studio. Just the other day I was in here and I got to clear out a bunch of stuff and reorganize the crafted me-made clothing closet that is behind me back there. I'm like, okay, I have more wearables than I thought, which is really kind of cool, actually. I always get complimented on my things that I wear. I'm like, oh yeah, I made it into this little imaginary hair flip. But yeah, so I don't know. This is my little haul here, and I can't wait to see what these different fibers turn into, because again, I just usually sometimes I buy yarn with the intent of designing something in particular, and then sometimes again it's just whimsical, or I'm shopping or something and I just, you know, I just grab it and then it, like, the design pattern comes out as an afterthought. But yeah, I think I'm gonna come up with some really interesting stuff here. Yeah, but let me know if you have used either these knitting needles, or if you have used the fleece yarn that I just got, and let me know what you made with it, because this is so soft. And when I was at the store, the cashier was like, she was making a blanket with it, because when she touched it, it was just magic. And I'm like, I know, right? I absolutely love how this feels in the hand. This is amazing. It's actually a baby yarn, I think. Now that I think about it, it's actually a baby yarn. But, and nonetheless, I'm going to use it. It's also classified as a bulky weight, but I mean, yeah, it can go either way. It can go either way. I'll probably end up using a 6mm. Probably make my project go by a lot quicker. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share today. I am still deep into spring cleaning, and now that I've done this video, I can totally go and rearrange all my yarn again, which is going to happen again because I am clearing things out of the basement and getting things hauled and over the summer, hopefully. And yeah, so I get to shift around this whole room. I hope by the end of hiatus, I can like do a grand reveal or something, but we'll see. I'm excited for the change. I am so excited. I've been wanting to do this for the last, oh, I don't know, 2 years. So getting through everything has been tricky, but it's coming together. I'm super excited to share. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future crafty content, because at some point Infiniti is going to get back into the swing of yarn hauls and crafty corners and pattern releases and things like that, and you're not going to want to miss those announcements. You can also head over to my blog, sign up for the newsletter. You will get notified when blog posts go live. You'll also be some of the first to know when patterns drop, or get an estimate usually about when they're going to drop, and get a jump on those releases. Let's see, what else is there? You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me Pinterest. Find me on a number of places. The little card will be at the end of the video. My social media is also linked on my blog site, so you can find that in the description box below. And until next time, guys, happy making.